So this video is going to look at reliability. We've covered this a lot in AS, but this now looks at it in a bit more specific detail. So we look at the specification, the key things you need to know. You need to know about reliability across all methods of investigation, the ways of assessing reliability, so the ones they specifically mention are test, retest and inter-observer, so you need to know those two in depth. And also how we can improve reliability of a study. So we're going to start by looking at what is reliability. So reliability basically means consistency. So can we repeat the test and get the same results? Are the results consistent? And there are different types of reliability. We've got external, internal, and inter-rater reliability as well. So when we're talking about external reliability, we're talking about the idea of consistency. Can we repeat it and get the same results every single time? Okay, they're never going to be exactly the same, but can we get similar results every time we repeat the methodology? So that's the basic term for that is external reliability. So how do we actually test external reliability? Well, I should give you a hint at the bottom of the screen there. We use something called a test-retest method. And this is where we test the subject on 2 or more separate occasions using the exact same procedures. Okay, and if the results are very similar, so if they repeat the exact same procedures, get similar results, and the scores correlate, then the study has high levels of external reliability. When we say do the scores correlate, you've got to remember that in order for it to be a high correlation, it needs to be higher than plus 0.8. So that would be the correlation coefficient we're looking for. If it's higher than plus 0.8, we've got a high external reliability. We've also got something called internal reliability, and this is whether a measure is consistent within itself. So if you think about a tape measure, every single distance between 10 to 20 centimeters is the same as between 20 to 30, between 30 and 40. That measure is always the same. So a tape measure, for example, would have high levels of internal reliability. The distance between each of those 10 centimeters is always the exact same. We've also got inter-rater or inter-observer reliability. It's called a few different things depending on the type of study you're doing. And this refers to when you've got 2 or more judges who are independently assessing a participant or giving a subject a score. So the scores are then correlated. We've got 2 different researchers both giving a score for a participant. We take their scores and we compare them. And if those scores are very similar, and if they're consistent, if they correlate the 2 scores from those judges, then we can say it has inter-rater reliability. Basically, we're looking to see if the observers are applying the behavioural categories in the same way. And if the study lacks inter-rater reliability, it means the scores that the judges have given are completely different. Okay, so they're very different scores, and therefore it lacks inter-rater reliability. So how do we test inter-rater reliability? Well, what we do is we have 2 judges who simply judge the same test independently. So 2 judges giving scores for the same participant on a particular thing, or doing an observation, how many aggressive acts occur in the playground during break time. And they'll both observe it and record the behaviours in their tally chart. We then check whether their results are similar, so we correlate their results. And if they've got similar results, again, you've got that number down there, that plus 0.8. If the correlation coefficient is high, and the results are similar between the 2 judges, then it suggests it has high levels of inter-rater reliability. And if they've got different results, so it therefore lacks inter-rater reliability. So another thing you've got to know about is improving reliability and how you do this in different studies. So we're going to look at a range of different techniques like questionnaires, interviews, experiments, and try and show you how you might go about improving the reliability of those. So in a questionnaire, you'd most likely do a test-retest method to compare the 2 sets of data. And remember, when you're comparing the results of one questionnaire to another, and you're trying to see if the scores are similar, you've got to try and reach that correlation coefficient of plus 0.8. That shows that there is a high positive correlation between the two sets of data. Remember, if there's a low correlation coefficient, you might need to rewrite the whole questionnaire. If the two scores don't match, then you'll have to redo the questionnaire, as it's probably being interpreted differently by the same person on different occasions. So if I was to do the questionnaire one day, and then you gave it to me on a different day, and I got completely different scores, I'm clearly misinterpreting the questions. So you need to make sure if I did it on one day and did it on another day, that the results of my questionnaire would be similar. And that shows the questionnaire has reliability. So when we're looking at interviews now, a good way of improving reliability is to use the same interviewer on every single occasion. Okay, and if that's not possible, then you need to make sure that the interviews you do use are trained correctly. Okay, and avoid using things such as leading questions. And an easy way to improve reliability is to use structured interviews. Okay, so you can given a set number of questions to follow, and they don't deviate off that path. And if every single interviewer uses those set questions, the reliability of the interview should improve. We've also got to think about experiments. So when we're conducting a psychological experiment, how do we improve the reliability here? Well, lab experiments are generally quite reliable because they've got a high level of control. And one way to improve reliability is to ensure that all participants are tested under the same conditions every day. You try and keep the same conditions, you make sure you've got a standardized procedure that all participants follow. Observations. So when we're doing an observation, if we want to try and improve the reliability in it, you need to ensure that the behaviour categories have been operationalised. So you don't just use the word, if we're observing playground aggression, you don't just write aggression as one of the categories. You've got to operationalise it. So you might have punching, kicking, swearing, all different forms of aggression get operationalised on the checklist. And again, the categories should never overlap. You shouldn't have hugging and cuddling because they're two very similar things. One researcher might put hugging, one might put cuddling. So you want to have very, very clear and specific behaviour categories on your observation checklist.